If the state wins this case, tobacco companies would have to pay Mississippi at least $100 million of back medical expenses. Some 50 million Americans own shares in mutual funds today, and most of them have questions about how to make the most money with their fund dollars. Money pro Steve Crowley has the answers to many of those questions.
Hi, Steve. Tell me why the mutual funds are going up so fast.
There are actually 4 good reasons. First, inflation is in check, staying right around 3%. This pleases Wall Street and Main Street. More positive news, the economy is growing at a steady clip without overheating. Corporate profits have been strong for 1995. Then we're coming up on a presidential election year. In my opinion, this will keep interest rates moderately low. That's good for stocks. Reason number 4 is obvious. Because more of you are learning about stock mutual funds and sending out checks to invest in them, fund managers have to buy more stocks for their funds. With more buys than sells, stock prices simply drift higher. Question 2.
Hello, Steve. How you doing? I was wondering if you could tell me the difference between a stock fund and a bond fund.
Simple. Bond funds look for a yield of interest, and then bond prices or trading values fluctuate up or down as market interest rates go down or up. Stock mutual funds look mainly for growth, price appreciation, and varying degrees of dividend yields, which often amount to less than 2% of the fund's total return. History tells us over 10-year periods, you can make far more with stock funds than you can on average with bond funds. Think of stock funds in the 9 to 12% a year range and bonds in the 5 to 8% range. For Mississippi Business Today, I'm Steve Crowley.
What kind of business year was 1995 for the state? For the answer to that question and a look at the upcoming business year, we go to Charles Campbell, professor of economics at Mississippi State University, who's with our Bob Edmister.
Thank you, Michael. Today my guest is Charles Campbell, professor and economist from Mississippi State University. Thank you very much for being with us today, Charles.
Thank you for having me.
We're glad to have you here to talk about the economy in 1995 and prospects for 1996. What do you consider the standouts to be for 1995?
Well, probably the most important thing is that the economy has remained fairly strong. The casinos have not dried up and gone away. That's been a good thing. And obviously the construction that's come about largely because of the casinos has really done a lot for the economy.
Now the casinos and the gaming business are part of the service sector of our economy, aren't they?
Correct.
Has the service sector done pretty well in general in 1995?
The service sector itself has remained about flat. There have been some declines in it. There are a couple of strong points. Retail sales are doing pretty well. Some of the health professions are doing pretty well. But essentially flat would be a good way to describe it.
So a flat 1995 in general for the service industry?
In general for the whole economy in terms of employment.
Well, what else is important in terms of employment for the state of Mississippi?
Well, traditionally manufacturing has been very important and remains important, although services are becoming more important. Manufacturing also has remained fairly flat, a little bit of a decline in both the non-durable and the durable manufacturing.
Have there been any changes this year in terms of manufacturing with respect to the kinds of businesses that are in Mississippi, and perhaps thinking to 1996 about changes that may occur?
Well, we're seeing continued diversification, which is a very good sign. We've got a very strong furniture industry, for example, but we've also got the kinds of firms that have come along with the furniture industry, which have helped diversify some. And then we've got additional firms that have been coming in simply looking at the success of the furniture industry here and realizing that we have very productive workers.
So we have a successful furniture industry growing, we have the gaming industry growing. Both of these industries are bringing in a new kind of talent or developing a new kind of talent, aren't they, in the state?
Well, there's really 2 good things that are happening in that respect. One is that we've got more and more new plant. And with new plant, that means higher levels of technology, and that means more productivity and higher wages. So that's an improvement.
Well, now you just talked about something that's close to my heart, higher wages and technology. How do these things work together, and what are we looking for in terms of the future of technology?
Well, anytime you're able to do something more productively, what we're saying is you can produce more with the same cost. And if you can do that, then that means you're more valuable. So that means our labor is going to be getting increased incomes as they are more productive.
Well, that sounds very important to get more value and then better wages out of all this.
Right.
What about new businesses? Can we get some new businesses that are high-tech?
Very definitely. In fact, the furniture industry, again, is a good place to see this happening, but it's happening in other places as well. When you've got somebody who is using the kind of technology that we have in some of the new manufacturing plants, there's a point at which some of them can step out and start their own businesses.
Can you give me examples of businesses that you're talking about here, businesses that are high technology?
Well, the furniture industry doesn't seem like one that you would think would be high-tech, but in fact, many of them are furniture manufacturers are using computer-assisted design, computer-assisted manufacturing. These are fairly high-tech sorts of things. We also have very advanced electronic manufacturing and non-electronic manufacturing sectors that are using computer-assisted manufacturing.
Sounds like more and more we're going to be a computerized society, doesn't it?
The days of the coming to Mississippi for the low-wage, non-union, low-skill labor are passing.
And what's the future?
The future is going to be labor that is skilled and semi-skilled, labor that has expertise in modern manufacturing methods. And then outside of manufacturing itself, the service sector is continuing to improve.
All of this seems to suggest that the people who are working in Mississippi need to improve their skills for the new technology. Do you have any comments about that?
The people not only need to, but they're going to have to. As the type of manufacturing and the type of services change, there's going to be more and more of a need for people to change with them. So it's almost going to be a necessity.
Well, it sounds like both an opportunity and a challenge, but I think that's one that the people of Mississippi are up for. Now I have a challenge for you. What's your prognostication, what's your outlook for 1996 in Mississippi?
I think that barring some unforeseen circumstance at the national level, we ought to do as well or better next year as we did this year.
So we can look forward to a 1996 that's as bright as 1995?
It seems like it right now.
And we're doing pretty well against the rest of the country?
I think we're doing increasingly better against the rest of the country.
Thank you very much, Charles. We appreciate your comments. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Bob. Well, that's our show for this week. Now, here's a look at what's coming up on the next edition of Mississippi Business Today. We'll take you to a Jackson Tool Company that's been named one of America's best by a national magazine.
85 or 90% of the day-to-day work is done without a supervisor looking over someone's shoulder telling them what they should be doing.
Getting people back to work is the goal of Allied Enterprises. We'll show you how they help those with special needs.
Depending on the severity of disability and what the disability is, the client can either stay at the workshop for a short period of time or a long period of time. But the key point is, it is all individualized.
If somebody's not so hungry they just want hamburger and french fries, I think we have one of the best hamburger and french fries in town.
And for more than 100 years, people have enjoyed the fine food at Weidman's Restaurant in Meridian. We'll find out the secret of its success.
But there are certainly people that have been eating down here for 5 or more generations too. That have grown up going to Weidman's.
If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, just drop us a line at Mississippi Business Today, the University of Mississippi, 201 Bishop Hall, University, Mississippi, 38677. Or call us at 601-232-5917. For all of us doing business in Mississippi, remember to judge us by the companies we keep.
Funding for Mississippi Business Today is provided in part by the Mississippi Department of Economic and Community Development, working together to move Mississippi forward. And the Bank of Mississippi. Mississippi is our hometown. Funding for Mississippi Business Today has been provided by the Mississippi Department of Economic and Community Development, working together to move Mississippi forward. South Central Bell, a Bell South company. MTEL, a provider of wireless communication technologies. And the Bank of Mississippi. Mississippi is our hometown.